back to the JMC Reviews, and today we're going to be doing something a little different. Today I'm going to be reviewing a short film, specifically the 7th short film from the very, very early career of George Lucas. Electronic Labyrinth, THX 1138 4EB from 1967.
THX 1138 4EB, THX 1138 4EB, you will stop where you are. You are in violation of Mercy on 15-16.
And for anyone wondering why I decided to review a short film, I thought it'd be interesting to try something different and see where a iconic director got his start. And it totally has nothing to do with the fact that I'm really tired and just need a little break from doing the much bigger, full-length movie reviews.
You lie! You're a fucking liar! Shut up!
Electronic Labyrinth, THX 1138 4EB, was a student film Lucas made and would eventually serve as the foundation for what would become his first feature-length film, THX 1138 from 1971. A movie I've seen and own in its original, non-Lucas special edition version.
Did you bring it with you?
Got it right here.
Oh, that's...
What the hell is that?
You know what? I don't think we have a VHS player anymore, so that's a bummer.
Before jumping into the short film, my thoughts on the feature-length movie are, it's a cool, pretty bizarre movie. The closest George Lucas has ever come to emulating Stanley Kubrick, a la 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's definitely not for everybody, but if you want a non-linear, cool-looking, futuristic film with an anti-authority message, I think you'll like it.
Chin chin. Drink up, lad.
The original short was made while Lucas was a student at USC and got him some of his earliest recognition. A few years later, with assistance from his friend and mentor, Francis Ford Coppola, he was able to expand the short into his first feature film, starting a long, if kinda bumpy film career.
If the Wolfman was here, he'd say, get your ass in gear. The Wolfman comes in here occasionally, and the places he talks about that he's been. And there's a great, big, beautiful world out there.
I will be the most powerful Jedi ever. I will even learn to stop people from dying. It's all Obi-Wan's fault. He's holding me back!
Hey, Luke. May the Force be with you.
Lucas apparently had the idea for the original THX film for a long time. In his own words, it was based on the concept that we live in the future and that you can make a futuristic film with existing stuff. Sounds like the kind of in-depth storyboarding you could expect from George Lucas. Lucas originally collaborated with 2 other USC students who had a similar story in mind. These students were future director Matthew Robbins of Dragon Slayer and Batteries Not Included, and legendary 3-time Oscar-winning sound/film editor Walter Murch. Eventually they lost interest and dropped out, but Lucas kept with it, and Robbins in a later interview would state that the EB in the 4EB part of the title stood for Earthborn.
Fascinating.
And as for the plot of this 15-minute short film, it's a little hard to describe because it's a very trippy project, both the short and the feature-length film, and in the best way I can describe after watching this little film, after opening on a black screen with a very chilling score, the short starts with a bunch of mysterious people talking, voices hard to make out due to a robotic filter. One of them is a woman named 7117, played by Joy Carmichael, identified as the mate of THX 1138.
We've been the ideal mate. You know that.
We cut to a bunch of people in white clothing working at various 1960s computers made up to look futuristic, which as some people would complain is a little dated, is still pretty cool to look at. Through various security cameras, the workers discover a rogue member of their society trying to escape the underground city they all live in. The rogue runner is THX 1138, played here by Dan Naksham.
4-3. Leaving the city. They're leaving the cities.
The shot of him coming into focus on the monitor is extremely well done. The workers order THX to come back.
You will stop where you are.
He doesn't obey and continues to run. From there, the short is one ongoing sequence of THX running through long, eerie corridors and the workers attempting and failing to detain him.
Cut the power, repeat, cut the power.
We get impressive camera angles, ear-splitting sound effects, and Christ imagery. 'Cause why not?
I love Jesus! I love Jesus!
We see some cool, fuzzy red spots appear on the screen at various points throughout the film, as well as some text that at times is a little unintentionally funny. I know it's a little silly, but I just find that to be kind of funny.
I just wanna listen to your body talk, body talk, body talk.
After dodging many attempts to stop him, THX makes his final run through a parking garage. Well, that's what it is. Still, with the lighting, it makes for a good dark setting. After one last dire dodge from the surveillance workers, THX escapes the underground city into the outside world.
All possible efforts were made by the authority to prevent this tragedy.
As THX runs into the sunset, or sunrise, we hear the people in charge talking to 7117, lying that THX died and that they're gonna help her find a new mate.
You may obtain a new mate at Centipede Math. Remember to file a male-female preference call and ready for evaluation.
And so, nothing really changes in the grand scheme.
Same old shit, different day.
The short film got a lot of pretty decent reception upon release, coming in first place in the dramatic category at the 3rd National Student Film Festival, held at the Lincoln Center in New York City, which is where it was seen by a young Steven Spielberg, planting the seed for a very long and productive relationship. In 2010, Electronic Labyrinth THX 1138 4EB was selected for preservation by the Library of Congress.
For a fucking hour.
Personally, I find the short to be a little hard to follow. And don't get me wrong, I love weird films that leave it up in the air as to what exactly the point or theme of the story is, but I'm of the opinion that short films are probably not the best format to do that type of storytelling, unless you're willing to get really fucking creative. My biggest complaint about this whole little thing would probably have to be the robotic dialogue, which is near impossible to make out.
55-1212. 37 checking through 1.
I don't know about you, but I can't hear fucking shit.
Nigga, you deaf?
We had a better track here if you'd paid more attention to the recording, less attention to what they were talking about.
Now, despite these flaws, I do think this short is worth checking out because it's a fascinating watch. It gets you hooked from the first 30 seconds, and even if you don't understand the full context, it is very easy to root for THX and his escape. The whole chase, which is essentially the final 20 minutes of the latter feature-length movie, keeps you interested to the very end. And the sound by Daniel Tooth is extremely well done. You can see why Lucas would later name his sound company THX.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
In the end, I do prefer the feature-length film, mostly for the fact that it provides a little more development for the government/authoritarian world that are chasing THX, but the original short is definitely worth checking out, if just for the trippiness and to see where George Lucas got his start. Also, it's kind of nice to watch a George Lucas directed film that doesn't have any awful CGI touch-ups, which can sadly not be said for the 1971 film. unless you got a few $100 to spare for a used VHS copy.
How much?
You heard me.
How much do we got?
I think I have 20.
I've got 15.
I don't have shit.
A good story to wrap this short review up on is George Lucas made this film with a lot of assistance from the U.S. Navy. For full explanation, since the 1940s, the USC Film School had a working arrangement with the Navy where Navy filmmakers attended the school for additional study. Teaching the class was not popular amongst the USC staff as the Navy filmmakers often had rigid, preconceived ideas about filmmaking and sometimes misbehaved in class. But the Navy paid for unlimited color film, which was pretty fucking expensive back in the 60s, and lab processing costs.
How can you argue with that?
Lucas offered to teach the class, resulting in many Navy men forming the crew and some appearing in the cast. Filming was completed in 12 weeks, and the Navy got a pretty nice shout out during the end credits. Doesn't hurt to have connections.
I know a guy who knows a guy who knows another guy.
Hope you enjoyed my first short film review. There'll be another one coming out next month before we jump back into the feature-length films for the October season. If you want to check out Electronic Labyrinth, THX 1138 4EB, it's available as a bonus feature on the DVD for the feature-length film, or you can just go digging around here on YouTube. It's been made pretty easily available, and without further ado, have a good rest of your summer, and I will see you again soon.